Welcome to Uganda Crossroads. This is your friend, Dr. G. I'm standing in the place of David Rubura, who is out on official duties for the company. Welcome again from all walks of life. Would you share the page with everybody from every part of the continent? Those in Africa, would you send it to your friends and just WhatsApp somebody, let them know that Uganda Crossroads is on air right now. Tonight we are so excited. We have a panel over here, which is phenomenal from the background that they come from. Numerous times that very many folks have spoken about Uganda from the time that Uganda has had independence to where Uganda is right now. Many have said that Uganda has never had leaders. It has always had rulers. Now, the question at the back of my mind tonight is that we're going to go back a little bit to take a look at a lot of things about where Uganda is right now from the walk of life where Uganda has come from. It has been a long journey. It almost looks like Uganda has had bittersweet kind of moments from the time of independence until now, that the presidents have changed, but the happiness has been short-lived. Tonight, we're going to sit down and just have a little talk with this panel over here. I'm so excited tonight. We have Sarah on board, and one of the 21st century cutting edge preacher, Reverend Father Deo Gracious Chibi. What a blessing tonight. You're all welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, tonight as we are seated over here to discuss about Uganda Crossroads, this platform has been created for the issues that Ugandans are dealing with on a daily basis. Very many people have complained about where the direction of Uganda right now. The young people feel like Uganda has forgotten them. The older people feel like we have not got enough of what we have invested. So it feels like there is in between a huge gap between the young generation and then the generation that was before. And it feels like nobody's leaving the baton to the younger generation. But tonight, we would like to take a look at the leaders or the rulers of Uganda. And from the time of independence to now, has Uganda really changed? Uganda celebrates independence every year, but has Uganda been at the place that it is supposed to be celebrating independence?
Okay.
Would you greet the folks who are watching you right now? Then we come over to the topic.
Okay, thank you very much. Doctor, I heard you saying
Dr. G.
Dr. G.
Yes.
I'm very happy to be here at this moment. I know in Africa, in Uganda, it must be night,
yes,
all evening,
yes,
and here it's just afternoon. So I want to say good afternoon to you all. And my name, as they have told you, I'm Father Chibi Deogracious Katerega, and currently I work at the Cathedral of Rubaga. So we came here in the USA for the celebration of the Uganda Martyrs' Day tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I met Pastor Godfrey and Dr. G, and he has invited me here tonight, this time. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to this discussion about the theme. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Sarah, would you say hello to the viewers?
Hello, our viewers. People watching us from the East and West Coast, people watching us from all different parts of Africa. We have so many people watching us from Uganda every time we sit here, and then we are so glad and lucky that we have one of their favorite Reverend Fathers.
Yes.
Yeah. People love his word.
I'm also excited about that because Reverend has been known as a cutting-edge preacher of our generation. Now, I'm a Pentecostal preacher. I don't easily connect with the other priests from different other denominations because it's not easy to know what somebody believes in until you hear them speak. Now, you have spoken words that has resonated with the young men and the women of our generation.
Yeah.
You have given the Ugandans hope. You have pushed them to work harder. You have pushed them to find their destiny. And that's why when I found out that you was in the city, I could not wait to get a hold of you. So we are so honored tonight. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. So, yes, sir.
Okay, the first question you talked about, you see, I'm not so much in love with the politics.
Yes, sir.
I distance myself in politics because the politics of third world countries are games. People could say that politics is a game, and I could not believe it. What I've seen, I'm just born. I was just born after in 86. So I'm somebody of this age.
Yes, sir.
And so far, what I've seen, the politics of Uganda really are just games. You are asking that since independence, Uganda celebrates independence every year. Oh yes, as Uganda moved forward, of course, in some instances it has. Because when you compare the Uganda of today and the Uganda of the 80s, it's different.
Yes,
and some few things have come up. But the progress has been very low because of simply one reason, that our leaders have disappointed us.
Yes, sir.
Our leaders do not do what we expect them to do. Like I had these guys, the candidates who have been here for UNA and what. So before someone comes into power, into force, they promise so many things. And they say, we are going to do this, we are going to do this, we are going to do this, we want to change. But you know, when they get there, they never act. They never act. The output is so little. I think it's only in third world countries that we see the leaders who even don't want to retire, the leaders who still want to be in force, the leaders who don't believe in successors. So you just find that in the third world countries. But when you come to Europe, when you come to this place like America, you enjoy what's here. Some time back, I could wonder why people come here and they don't want to go back.
Yes, sir.
But when I came here, my first time, I came to believe that it is easy to come from Uganda and reach here and refuse to go back.
Yes, sir.
For us, we just come back because we have to come back.
Yes.
But this is a place which is not so easy to live, you know. If it was not weather, the winter and the summer, so many people would love to be here simply because the leaders here stand by their word. Leaders here, they are selfless. Leaders here, they work for their people. They work for the poor. The roads are up, the hospitals and everything. What we have heard about this place, even they tell you when you go to hospital, if you're sick, these people first attend to you before even they ask money. This is something really different. So Africa in general, Uganda in particular, would be far from where we are now.
Yes,
but
sir.
Our leaders have disappointed us. The constitution has been abrogated. So many promises, so many things that they promised to do, they have not done them. When you move in different places, you see so many people suffering, so many people in dire poverty. But of course, they have been able to do a few things. I left in Kampala and they are going to construct new roads and new hospitals and what. But even so many things are not yet. So since independence, Uganda has come somewhere, but it is not where it is supposed to be. If our leaders were faithful to what they promised to do for us, I think it would be far. You could not even hear people saying, so and so, you must not contest again. People are crying because they have no jobs, because no drugs, no hospitals, because what? Otherwise, if people were happy, if people were seeing development, if people were seeing hospitals, if people were seeing children in school, if people were seeing our country moving forward, everyone would be quiet. We'd just be enjoying the good life there.
Yes, Sarah, would you join in and give us our opinion about, from the perspective of folks that say Uganda has never had leaders, but rulers? from the time of independence, the joy and the happiness of Ugandans have been short-lived from the perspective of every leader that comes henceforth, they promise peace. And it is just like somebody enjoying the plate of food for just a minute, and then the rest of the time, the plate of food is taken away, and people start crying. So what is your perspective of, on that statement?
Definitely, you've had, just like the statement you mentioned, you've had so many rulers and leaders, because usually you've had the excitement of people having someone new coming on in power, and the disappointment mainly has been people refusing to leave power.
Yes.
We've had leaders, you've seen the likes of Obote, the likes of Amin. There must be some kind of force exerted for someone to leave power. Look at right now the 33 years of President Museveni. Even when all of us feel he's tired, he should retire, he should be seated somewhere where he's being taken care of, he's still insisting that he still has the energy to still lead Uganda to where I do not know. But but again, this habit of not wanting to leave power and staying in for a very long time has all what it has led to is what most of it Father mentioned. You don't have much development because leaders are stuck in a box. They do things and they get somewhere and the creativity dies off because even when you look at successful companies, the owner of the company gets to a stage where he gives it up either to the son or daughter or any other person. Not because they did not start their company or maybe because they don't love their company, but they get to a stage where they can no longer think best for the company. They need some young blood, some energy to come over, take over the company and run it and make new developments and new ideas. So when you talk of in terms of development and Uganda improving since independence, it is really sad that where you've moved from, what I've seen that has been maybe the tremendous change since independence, it is the number of Ugandans. The population has increased enormously. Because you have 40 million Ugandans. I don't know how many Ugandans were in 62, but you have the population that has really grown on, and most of them are still depending on the services or on things that were either built in the 70s that have not changed and increased a little bit at all. You have high levels of unemployment. Just like he mentioned that he understands why people come from the side.
They don't want to go back. Yeah.
I'm telling you, the reasons are so valid. He mentioned when you go to hospital, for example, if right now I ended up in one of the hospitals in America, they would treat me and the bill would come to my address after
you're already healed, yeah.
After I'm discharged, after a month of being discharged, a bill will come to your address. It could be any amount of money, and then how you pay the bill is you work out a payment plan. You call back, there was
Sarah, thank you for bringing me up to the direction of the hospital. There is a member of parliament, Luta Maguzi, is talking about the hospital situation in his constituency. The hospital ran out of water, and for a long period of time, he brought this into the parliament, talked about it, and they have refused to approve the water to be fixed. Yet recently, right after that, they approved billions of shillings to take care of the State House and the president. That's why I can get the understanding from the perspective of someone saying we have had rulers and not leaders.
You no longer have people who care. As much as you are a population of Ugandans, as much as you still have a few leaders among maybe politicians, among parliamentarians who really care and want to deliver services to their people, you have people who sit on top, who do not care whether people drink safe water or not, who do not care whether you die or not. It's not on top of their priorities. Life is no longer on top of the priority of our politicians in Uganda. If it was, you would be having the basic medication. Why are Ugandans still dying of malaria? Why are Ugandans still dying of simple things like malaria? We should be worrying about most advanced diseases like cancer and all that. But why are we still dying of malaria? Because malaria has been in Uganda for a very long time. And it's a problem all over Africa. It's a problem all over Africa. We should have better ways of how to safeguard our Ugandans not to die of malaria at this stage in time, because it's not something that is going to go away in time tomorrow. So, but you see, it is easy to approve the president's budget because, first of all, the president is on pension right now. Unless, and I don't know how they're going to do it because they've been giving out money not starting from now. They've been giving out money for a very long period of time. I do not know whether this money has in magic that it is going to do different, because if you fail, because these are the things they would have, you would bend to if you're campaigning back in the constituency and say, okay, we gave water to this constituency and here and there. But money is being given out. I saw Museveni was given 17 billion to travel the eastern part of Uganda for 2 weeks. 17 billion.
Father Kivi, after the independence of Uganda, you think at this point, should the Ugandans still be begging for water? For 30 years of leadership, let's just don't talk about just the period of time that Uganda got the independence. At least the 30 years of leadership or rulership, I don't know. Do you think at this point Ugandans should be begging for water?
No.
With Lake Victoria just around the corner.
Can you imagine? You see, when you come, one time I went to Israel.
Yes.
And I saw these people grow crops.
Yes.
But Israel is a dry land. Mm. When you go into Uganda and you see our natural resources, you see our weather, you see what we have. I think these people from America, from Europe, they must be really admiring to come instead to our place. But you know, after 30 years, and people and hospitals, first of all, the nature of the hospitals, they look funny, you know. People die. One time we lost somebody, and I went to one the Mulago. First of all, there was a lot of stench. You know, there was. I found so many people there. People were all complaining that my patient would not have died. So that's the situation in Uganda. But again, after 30 years, if somebody is not yet satisfied, you really wonder, what do they need? What do they really need?
In leadership, yeah.
So you see that our leaders don't have love for the country.
For the country, yes.
They don't have that love that other leaders have in other places. We have high rates of corruption. People take huge sums of money, huge chunks of money. Now, from January up to around March, April, or even up to now, people are complaining. People don't have money. Even the businessmen and women, they're all saying we have no money. So we are wondering, where does the money go? And even some of these NGOs, these international organizations, the transnational ones, they have given up on helping Uganda. Much of the money has come and has not done what it's supposed to do. You find so many poor villages dying of who have HIV, they haven't even no ARVs. I tend to think that so many people die when they have cursed our country. After 30 years, somebody said that a successful leader without a successor is a failure.
It's a failure.
So if up now, they have no successor, whether his son, whether whatever, but I think at this time, he must have someone to succeed. If you have no successor, that means you're a failure. So at this time, we could not really be begging water. We could be having better roads. You see, when you're in Kampala, you can see really a picture of a city. But when you go outside Kampala, when you go deeper in villages, people are there in dire poverty. There are some people who die of hunger. So we still have so many really problems. And really, our leaders, they seem to still want to lead us.
They're just stuck on it. Well, before you go henceforth, there's a whole bunch of folks over here who are watching, and they really appreciate you. Eddie Mutwe just said, Omu wafeyeka bwati Father Chivi. Appreciating you for, from the background that you come from and the standpoint that you stand to speak clearly to this generation. If you're out there and you're watching us online and you would like to be part of this conversation, it's okay to send in a comment. It's okay to send in a question. Sarah is right over here. Father Kivi is here. You can shoot them a question, any kind of question that you want to shoot right over here at Uganda Crossroads. Now, coming back to you. Back in the days, the ministers, the prophets, were the mouthpiece of God.
Yeah.
And whenever God needed to communicate to any leader, he would use a prophet.
Exactly.
And the prophet would carry the word and bring it to the leader.
Yeah.
But today, the leader chooses their own prophets,
Yeah.
whereby they tell them what to say
Yeah.
whenever they need to say anything.
Yeah.
So with that change of God's principle, where do you think Uganda is headed right now?
First of all, the leaders in Uganda, they manipulate the church leaders because they're poor. You find some become bishops. When someone becomes a bishop, they donate a car, a vehicle to that bishop. Now, when you give me a car, it's like you are zipping.
You are zipping the mouth.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are zipping the mouth.
Yes, sir.
And when you go in the entire Bible, right out from Abraham, we move to, we begin with Moses. God ever spoke to his people through Moses.
Yes.
And after that, if you look through the entire Old Testament, there is no successful king without a prophet, behind.
Yes, sir.
All those kings who never had prophets,
They
were
ended
not
up going
successful.
down the drain. Yes, sir.
Yes. So over the time, God has spoken through the prophets. You see, when my first time to come in the U.S., I moved around,
Yes,
and I
sir.
saw so many churches. And even I've read about the 20 rules of Native Americans. The Native Americans, they built this USA in a way that every person who qualifies through the embassy in that country, who qualifies to come here, whether it's from where, he must find this place as a land of opportunities.
Opportunity, yes, sir.
That's the theme on which they built this country.
Yes, sir.
And now when I moved around, I saw so many churches. Okay, some of them have been turned into other things.
Yes.
But before, there were many, many churches in America. And that's why some people are saying before that God has been kicked out of America. But now when you go back in our country, one time they made some statistics. But so only in Ilubaga, we have more than 100 churches just around Rubaga. And they said in the entire country we have over 190,000 churches. And most of these churches, they made the statistics for born-again churches. Only born-again churches.
Yes, sir.
But now talk about the mosques, talk about the Catholic churches.
Yes, yes.
That means, in Uganda, more than 50% they are Christians.
Yes.
But now we wonder whether these leaders are really Christian. Because if they are Christian, they were supposed to listen to what God says. They were supposed to listen to the church leaders. But because even the church leaders, where they minister, because they are poor, they have no cars, they have no what. So in the way, you cannot express yourself very well. Now for me, I'm not very free with discussing about politics. I'm not very free. Why? Because we don't have that security, we don't have that freedom of speech that
yes.
we must speak the truth. Otherwise, I've seen my Archbishop of Kampala. He has always addressed issues, you know. I've seen the Uganda Episcopal Conference. I've seen the Joint Christian Council. I've seen the Interreligious Council. They have always tried to guide our leaders, but our leaders seem not just listen. And even some are intimidated, and some fear for their lives. Otherwise, if they're able to listen to what the church leaders are saying, I think our country would have been better than it is today. So now these days, the church leaders are no longer the mouthpieces of God
Yes.
in the field of politics.
Yes.
We are mouthpieces of
the
God
government.
in other
Stuff, yeah.
in other stuff.
Yeah.
Regarding the government, some of the church leaders, they go there. Some receive money there. Then now we're going to talk even about the government.
Yeah, that's very true.
So now that's the problem we have.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yes, Sarah, going through the direction of the Ugandans today, the young generation that have come out of the schools, the universities, they have graduated. Instead of finding a job in the country of Uganda, they have been shipped out as baggages to go work for foreign countries and end up coming back in coffins because there is no hope in the country of Uganda. Every time there has been dead children that are returned back in Uganda, and you tell people you're not supposed to go over there, don't go to the Middle East, don't go, but they have no way, what else to do and nowhere else to go. All they have to say, I'm just going to try my luck. So what do you have to say about that?
I was so disappointed because when the president was giving
the State of the Union address,
I wanted him to at least talk about that.
Yes.
It's a serious issue affecting the young generation. And maybe he did not feel it was important to talk about it because some of these agencies and companies taking these young women abroad are owned by state people themselves.
Yes.
They're either owned by ministers, because the state, what you go through to get a license is not easy for any ordinary person. To get a license to start shipping those girls to Saudi Arabia or Arab countries. So because you need to have a license through the Ministry of Labor, they get a license to be able to take out people to Saudi Arabia and all those countries. So I expected the president at least to have to be human, to have some, to be a parent. Because don't tell me he has not watched the news. Don't tell me he hasn't seen how many young people are coming back either in wheelchairs. There's a video that was moving around social media of a young girl who, I think the child she was minding went and crossed the road and was knocked down. And the punishment, she was shocked. They cut her to death.
Yes.
And this video was recorded. And it was all over social media. I don't know if the body has been returned, but whoever the parents are going to receive not a full human being, but someone who has been chopped up into pieces. I thought the president is going to talk about this because he should understand 75–80% of the population is leading right now is for young people. I would expect the president to talk about the massive unemployment because these young women and men are not leaving Uganda to go to these countries just because they want to get a chance to fly on the plane.
Out, yeah.
No. Because if there was any chance, no one would ever choose to go to those countries just because of the way they are being treated. And we see every time in Parliament, instead of our leaders, politicians sitting and addressing these issues, they are fighting on how to increase their salaries by 40%. They are fighting on how to give the State House money. More money is going out. I've not had any debate about Ugandans being killed in Saudi Arabia. There should be someone who cares about Ugandans that is going to collect all these young women and men. Mostly women are affected. I saw one in a wheelchair. There's one I saw who is admitted in the hospital. She was thrown over the balcony by one of the kids in the house she was taking care of, people she was taking care of, and we've had dead bodies returned. So we need, ever since the things, what we have, you have parliamentarians, you have leaders who are keeping a blind eye on all what is happening. But this is not happening, just like I said, because Ugandans really just love to hop onto a plane. But it is happening because, one, there are no jobs in Uganda. And again, we understand there are no jobs. Okay, if there are jobs on their side, the government should be able to understand where and put up strict measures to these companies that are importing these girls to work as domestic laborers to these countries in Saudi Arabia. Because, the kind of way these people are treated is inhumane. You cannot find that in developed countries. For example, if someone is a childminder in the US, you see, I've had stories. Sometimes I'm on social media and I hear videos recorded of these girls. They work from morning to midnight on no meal. Here, if you hire someone as a childminder, they are strictly meant to take care of your kid. Their work is not to sweep your house. Their work is not to wash your clothes. Their work, it depends of exactly why are they in your house? To take care of your kid. They are not supposed to sweep your house. That is completely another job out of their obligation. I am looking after your kid. And in fact, it's properly demarcated. If I'm looking after one kid, please don't leave me the second kid. You're not paying me for that second kid. In fact, if I'm looking after a second kid, you're paying me more money for looking after a second kid. So everything is well stipulated because people know the laws governing children are very clear. And here you cannot manipulate people into working for you and you don't pay them, you can be sued. No matter the situation, you cannot manipulate people and work for. So, and it saddens me that I see politicians, our leaders, coming to these countries all the time. And some of them have their children living in these countries. Some of their children cannot stand the situation in Uganda, so these leaders have transported their kids and they're living abroad. One time I saw this lady of Kampala. She's the minister of Kampala, Betty Kami. She was arrogantly talking about the situation in Uganda, and her daughter is living in the United States. And I'm like, if it's all good and you're comfortable, why did you send your daughter to the United States? What is she doing here? What is she doing here? She should be back home. So it is really, really absurd. And you know, we need. I expected President Museveni to address this issue, because sometimes we've said so many times that stop going to these countries, but people are desperate. People are desperate. Everyone thinks of, you know, if it was bad for that person, maybe the situation is going to be better for me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's people sending messages, and, you know, somebody was saying the president seemed to be out of touch with the local people, being that he almost feels like he's playing a deaf ear to what is happening in the country of Uganda. Someone I was talking to a couple of weeks ago and said now the government officials, when they steal money from the government, they don't build this mega building in their personal names. What they do, they go find somebody and nobody know about, they cut a deal. They say, okay, you're just gonna act like you're building this big mega building in Kampala. You buy this place and we do this and we do this. But behind the closed doors is basically someone in the government doing something under somebody else's name.
Yeah, some of these politicians, some of those leaders that have amassed wealth through corruption and all that, have decoys.
Yes.
You just wake up and see this young man. There's one I now will not mention a name. He started from Makerere after Makerere, out of nowhere. He's owning almost every street in Kampala. He owns an arcade. He sleeps in one mega big mansion, and everyone wonders, where did he get money from? So they have decoys, people who accumulate money for them because they don't want you to question the amount of money, the money they have. Some of them have taken the money out of Uganda. Some of them have buildings in Dubai. It is hard. It is hard to just steal money and come and buy a building in America. It is impossible. It is close to impossible because they are going to question them, where is the money coming from. So what they've done, they've gone to countries where they're not questioned where the money is coming from, like Dubai,
yes.
like all those other countries where they can easily acquire, you know, properties. That's where some of them are having monies in accounts abroad where they cannot be questioned. There are some countries where you can have money hidden and it's not even questioned where it's coming from. So a lot is happening. But just like the message you mentioned, as in President Museveni seems to be detached from what is happening right now. His age is meant for someone to be an advisor, because and I don't know the kind of people he sits around with. Still, when you look at any of Museveni's ministers, tell me how many of them belong to this generation. Tell me how many of them belong to either they are born in maybe the early 80s, late 70s. Most of these people, look at why is Moses Ali still serving?
Father Chibi, why would you think the leaders right now who are in the government, they would never leave the baton to the younger generation? What is the problem? What is their fear?
Before I talk about that, there's something she talked about.
Yes.
We are told there are many Ugandans who have investments abroad. There are some mega accounts in some international banks. Some people have invested money on different streets in some other countries, other than Uganda.
Uganda, yes.
So people are just selfish. That's one thing. Two, we have no rule of law. I've been pursuing a master's degree in Makerere, in journalism and communication. But I've been seeing my fellow classmates, many of them, and when sometimes I could look at Makerere and I could see so many young people who are graduating. And then you find that people above 65, they are still in power. Above 60, they are still
holding offices.
They are still holding offices, and you wonder, where are these young people?
That's true.
Yeah, actually, some people, some of these young men and women, they have had to go back for further studies. Some have gone back for master's programs, then PhD, then postdoc, and some even have nothing. Some have even committed suicide. So we have a problem. Now you're asking me why can I think that these people don't want to leave power? First of all, they are selfish. But before the selfishness, we have no rule of law. Our structures are down. You see, everyone is in fear. You see, when you see like the Honorable Bobby Wines who are coming up, you know, these ones are mysteries. That's why the Honorable Bobby Wine he has commanded a lot of applause.
Yes.
Not only within the young, but basically from the young generation, and also from other generations.
Yes.
Yeah, some generations who have the sense to see the direction of our country. Why? Because everyone is in fear. Someone to come up and you show yourself that you want that seat. You know, it's not very easy. But I don't think that our president, you see, he's a good person. When I've seen him talk, when you see him, you say as if he's a good person. But I think that people around him and so many things, that's why it's still there. Because we have seen some clips.
But Father Chibi,
we have seen some clips when he was saying that that he won't stand above is it above 75? Yeah, we have seen some of those clips. I think he had a clear conscience before. But again, for us in the Catholic Church, when they appoint you somewhere, you are there for some time. When time comes, you retire. That's why the Bishop of Masaka has retired at 75. He has retired. He's still energetic. He can still serve, but he has retired.
And he's good.
And he's good. And you know, he has had a successor. He's going to initiate the successor. That's even us in the parishes. We are appointed somewhere. After some time, they transfer you, and then you leave. I think that's why the Catholic Church is still stable. We still have stability there. Because no one is above the Catholic Church law. We are all governed and directed by the Code of Canon Law for the Catholic Church.
Yes.
So if our country had rule of law, we could not see these people, the great men and women who have been shot dead in broad daylight. And until now, we have not been able to see who shot them, their families. You see these Afandika Wesas, the Kajezis.
Thank you so much for directing me to that direction. The question that, the next question that I want you to talk about, I've been hearing a lot of police saying that each time it's us, say we are investigating, we are doing the investigation, but you never come to the conclusion of the investigation. Case after case after case. Another thing, the police has come out often and often again, and they say we are pursuing the armed robbers. And then later it's discovered the vehicle they were using is one of the police officers' vehicle. And the question that I have, could this be the policemen in camouflage attacking people and taking people's money because they are underpaid? Or
actually, as I've said, we are lacking one thing. We are lacking the proper institutionalization of our country. Our structures are down. If there was rule of law, our country would have been completely different. Otherwise, when you see these men and women who are shot dead in the broad daylight, they tell you that people come on a motorcycle, they shoot when everyone is saying, you know, and even I've heard that the children, now recently, Sebrime was also shot dead. There was a young man who was having, are they 4 children or 3 daughters? He was going to visit and he was shot. And the minister who was responsible,
was involved in there.
Nothing has been done. So because of that, Because of that, the country has been made bad, and the leaders have been made bad. Now, President Museveni not standing again, resigning, will not be the issue. The issue is that in the 30 years, the Ugandans are really very patient. They have been very patient. They have been very good. They have been very nice. Because President Museveni, even if he comes to where, he will be welcomed. People will clap for him. They still love him. Now, if he could, based on the love the people have for him, if we based on that,
this
and
is
say,
it, I've given in enough.
Now he can bring in maybe
a young generation. They'll say, okay, I can advise how to move forward.
But again, he can bring in someone from his party and say, now I bring this one. If you see him fit, you can vote for him. That's called peaceful transition. You will see some of these structures coming back, and even again bringing back a discipline to the constitution. It was abrogated, you know. It was abrogated, and now even you don't know how long a president can lead. You can't know. So our country is in autocracy. Our country is at the apex of ruins, actually.
Yes.
Simply because our leaders are selfless. Our leaders have no love for our country. If they had, and we had rule of law, it would be very peaceful.
The question that I want to ask next is, if, let's say, Bobi Wine stands for the presidency and he wins, and Museveni say, I'm not going to give up power, what do you see happening in Uganda?
I really don't know. I think it will be okay. In any way, the president, the way he sees our country, he has the final say. That's what I think. But me, I thank Honorable Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine has been able to really shake a little bit. I think he could have made him scared.
Yes.
He could be scared. And you know, when I think about what was happening in Gulu, the bullet for
killed his driver, Yasin,
was intended to be for
Bobi Wine, yeah.
So that shows, and even when you see this, the vehicle that was taken there, and they said it had been stolen and was just transported.
Trying to set up
so
a whole
you
bunch
see
of
so
stuff,
many things happening in Uganda. So many things happening in Uganda. So really, transition, the president must be part of it. If people win, now I don't know whether Bobi Wine will be involved in the counting of votes and the polling stations and everything. That's not something very easy. It's not something very easy. If the contest, I think even we have been hearing rumors that even Besigye one time won. He won more than once.
They said that, yeah,
so we had. So it has not happened. But we pray. For me, my prayer is this: that our president has stepped down. Peacefully,
in peace, yes.
Then he gets someone, because if you've been a leader for 30 years, in that 30-year tenure, you must have a successor. You bring up that one, then that one contacts with the Bobi Wine, all other people, then the Ugandans,
they choose whoever they want to choose.
Whoever they want. And if the president does this in this coming term, 2021,
yes,
and he allows to step down,
yes,
and bring, people are going to respect him.
Because
despite
he will have that fatherhood spirit, and the fatherhood figure,
yes, and
kind
he
of a person.
will command out of respect.
Yes.
We had recently he went to Kenya. Is it Kenya? And to a university.
Yeah.
And he gave a very, very wonderful speech about Pan-Africanism.
Yes.
It was so wonderful, and someone was saying if he was speaking this as a retired president.
As president, yeah.
As a retired president, he would command out of respect.
Yes.
Now he would stand, because he's the father of he was able to bring back the independence. He's the one who did so many things. So a lot of things can be attributed to his tenure. But now, the more you stay in a place, even us. Now, for instance, when you live in a place for many years, you automatically get tired. That's just automatic.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so for me, it's my prayer that one time, no, not one time, maybe in these coming elections, he can really accept that now I bring so and so. Because in the 30-year tenure, if you have been a successful leader, you must have a successor to be considered a generational successful political person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Sarah.
You know, whenever we are having this talk,
Yes.
what saddens me about African leaders is why are we even talking about them having successors? They are not cultural leaders. Serve, do your time, leave. Let other people who have potential, who have a vision for the country, come up and lead the country wherever they want to take it. Because when we start begging President Museveni to give us a successor, it looks like President Museveni owns Uganda. And him owning Uganda, then he has to show us a successor. Oh, he has put us in a stage where we have to beg him to let us to go. Why are we even talking about succession? We've had so many potential leaders come up, and they're willing to drive the country in another direction or even a better place. You've had Dr. Besigye standing against President Museveni for the last 20 years. He's not willing to let him...
I was talking to one of the NRM insider who said that because at the back of my mind, I would hear people say, Tamale Mirundi would speak and say, Besigye is not an authentic opposition, Besigye is not this. But when I talk to the insider, NRM, this person, you know, I wouldn't say the name right here, but she say Besigye is authentic opposition. The only problem with Besigye, Museveni will not let Besigye be the president of Uganda because they have their own personal issues.
But still that is wrong.
Yes.
If they have personal issues, they should take them to a battlefield. Let them find somewhere where
not fight it in the country of Uganda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Their personal issues have nothing to do with Ugandans. As Ugandans, we do not partake of the issues Museveni and Besigye have. They should find a room, rent a room, and fight themselves.
But you are talking something, the success I was talking about, it's not for him to give us that this is my successor. No.
No, for his party.
Yeah,
out of his party to choose.
You can say that out of my party, this one is standing. That's the kind of success that I'm talking
Mbabazi
about.
came out, and Amama Mbabazi was from the NRM. Amama Mbabazi was considered one of the engineers of the NRM foundation builders. The government of Uganda, the NRM movement was built up on the brains of, as I hear, Besigye and Amama Mbabazi. And now Amama Mbabazi come out to contest against Museveni, and Museveni said no, and they start fighting. And now that really indicates and shows that he's not ready to get a successor, someone who's going to stand in his place. The question that I have right now, is he going to die in power?
We don't know. But at least since Honorable Wine came up, I think
there's a hope.
People are trying to get this feeling of freedom of speech.
Yes.
People coming up. We have those people I like.
Yes.
Like Honorable Tamaguzi.
Yes.
He's also point blank.
I like Honorable Tamaguzi. I mean, he just speaks his heart.
Now, that's how politics could be. You allow the opposition. By the way, the opposition is always also necessary in any country. Because the opposition, if you have no one to oppose you, you cannot see your faults.
Yes.
Actually, the opposition helps you to see where to amend. They help you to see where to improve. So since Honorable Babuani came up, and you know, people are trying to get this feeling of freedom of speech, talk about the issues affecting our country. So I don't know whether it's going to die in power, but I think so many people fear to speak out.
Yeah.
Because some have maybe some buildings in the city, some of them, the money they have, maybe it has come from banks, some of them have loans.
Yeah.
So in a way, the government can either promote you or it can demote you.
Yes,
it can cut you off. So people fear. But I think it would be in the wishes of every person if we should have peaceful transition.
Yes.
But even not only in Uganda, you see even some other African countries. Talk about Cameroon. Talk about people want to live by force. From what I've seen, no president who has left by force has ended well.
Yes.
So it's good that you live where
in peace.
You live in peace, then you stay in peace.
Definitely. You know, I wish leaders could copy. When you look at, I'll take you a bit to American politics. When Obama left, maybe there are people who felt Obama, there are things he didn't do right.
Yes.
But now they have someone to compare Obama with.
Now they say they appreciate him.
Now they appreciate Obama.
Yeah, they say Obama was a good president because
he was presidential, he was a lot of things, just because you have another president that has come up. And President Trump has, if he comes on 2020, he has 4 more years to go. And however much he had brilliant ideas or felt he can still lead this country, his time is up. And he has no any other chance of ever standing to be president again.
The first Sanja, if you don't perform, you don't get the second one.
Exactly. So, and I think when I look at democracies like America, what has helped them grow to where they are is they've always not stagnated themselves with one leader.
Because leaders have different thoughts, they have different
ideas,
approach on different
what they
things.
want to do things.
So every leader comes with their own approach to try to, fix something.
When I look at where we are right now, everyone is saying the economy is doing very good because maybe Trump comes from a business background.
Yes.
So he has managed to maneuver the situation, to make the situation there.
Yes.
And Obama's time, there are so many people that felt comfortable. In fact, Obama's time, there are people who got, you had so many people who were stuck in here, migrants who had never gotten green cards.
Yes.
And some of them had not even surrendered themselves in. They didn't have, Obama, during his time, he gave hundreds and hundreds of people green cards. Hundreds of green cards he gave to people who had been here 17 years, 20 years, and didn't have papers. So, yes, he did, and because some people really wanted to return home, because I know there's a lady who left Uganda in '99, and she returned to Uganda in 2016.
Wow.
In fact, she left a daughter who was in nursery school. She came back when the daughter is at university. She's among the people who benefited from that. So, leaders in Uganda, it would be really, really nice, because if you talk, all of us have grown up on a Museveni's regime. It's all we know. When you look at what you know is what a 5-year-old knows.
Yes.
Or because the situation has not really changed much. Or maybe earlier before, when the situation maybe was a little bit better, because situations have started getting even worse as time goes on. Just like before we used to have education, yes, parents used to pay, but the performance used to be better. UPE was introduced and everyone got excited. Maybe every person will have a chance to go to school. But who are you producing from UPE? Kids cannot even write their own names. They cannot even read a sentence. So it is as good as bad. Because you claiming I went up to primary 7, you can't write even your name, you can't even read a sentence. You are as worse as someone who never went to school, who wasted 7 years. So it has not helped. Because we felt UPE coming up, at least we are going to have a population that is at least baked a little bit. Maybe kids who will know how to read, the basics. But we are having primary 7. If they show you how primary 7 kids, you have grades and grades dropping all the time. What you have right now are schools that have been still on top, that are leading. All the traditional schools have lost it. Some, maybe the traditional schools who still pay money, and these students pay a lot of money. When you go to traditional schools like Gayaza High, like Namiryango, like Namagunga, they are not the best schools, they are not UPE schools. But when you look at the UPE schools that used to be really good, they are all now wasted because the performance have completely gone to zero. You have districts where the entire districts, the only person who got a second grade got maybe 20-something, and the entire district only one child. So it is really absurd, because the UPE was good. The intentions were good. But execution, the
approach of,
was wrong. I think Uganda at a time was not prepared. Those are promises leaders make, and you can still make a promise and work on it and see that if I'm going to put it out there, it is ready. Uganda was not ready for UPE, because if you're not going to pay teachers, right now it's teachers up to this day. I was really, really disturbed when President Museveni got the Parliament cleared 33 billion for
the State House.
For the State House, when teachers for the last 5+ years have been crying of salary increment. university. Because let me tell you one thing, we may be crying about primary, secondary school teachers, but he's at university. Go to these government-owned universities and see right now, you're not producing the best quality students that are coming out of there. They are more, look at, I've seen some of the students who are on a, if students don't take time and put in effort, I've seen, look at now the journalism industry in Uganda right now. It is been so diluted, it is pettiness, people don't investigate. Basically, people are picking stories from social media and throwing them on TV, on radio. People are no longer doing investigative journalism. People are not putting in the effort. People are not putting in the time.
But investigative journalism is dangerous because we have seen the journalists have ended up being killed, most of them beaten up and, you know,
arrested.
And no excuse.
Not even, I'm not talking of the deeper investigation as in terms of deeper investigation. But for example, someone is going to write a story about Dr. Chibi.
Yeah.
Yet he would have called him to confirm.
Yes.
Someone is going to see something running on social media. And he has the, you know, he could have called him to and say, you know what, this is what I'm seeing. How true is this? But they're going to copy and paste from social media and put it in newspapers. Recently, I was seeing BMK, Haj BMK. He came up to do a video because someone was on over social media circulating news that he had died. So people no longer do, and these newspapers just pick wherever they see. That's why you see.
They don't want to do the dirty work.
They don't want to, but why are you blaming them? You see, lecturers have been demotivated. If you're going to study at university, you're going to put in more effort. If you want more extra time with the lecturer, maybe you're going to buy him lunch. Maybe you're going, as a student, you have to put in more extra effort for you to get that extra energy from the lecturer because they're demotivated as well. If a lecturer in this type of errand where Uganda is still earning 1 million, yet he has 5 students who are at university and altogether he has to pay 20 million or 10 million for his students, where do you expect him to get the guts of it? You know, putting in his time also doing research for him, because also as a lecturer, you're supposed to do research for you to give content to your students. But they don't also have time. They're demotivated to do that. But also, you know, the students as well, they are demotivated. Everywhere you go, you have a quality of students that are coming up, going into the job market who are not good enough.
Yes, we have, you know, you have talked about the issue of education. Education is still the surest way to fight ignorance. When you see the taxi drivers in Uganda and borders, they're the drivers of these buses. They're the most causes of accidents on the road, because most of them have not gone to school. Most of them, they're abusers, all kinds of what, you know. When you go to Soroti, when you go to Karamoja, when you go into some parts of the north, you see, you find so many chunks of land, so many, you know, and you say, and you see, why are all people are gazetted in Kampala? You find everyone is in Kampala. If the government was just to put industries, to put companies in those other places, I think Uganda would have been the best. Now, regarding education, there is something that interested me. You see, I'm doing something back at home.
Yes.
And, you know, wanted the computers. And this gentleman, Mutiaba, Mr. Mutiaba, he donated to us computers, but these computers were in Nakawa confiscated because they are used. So in Uganda, you are no longer bringing in a used computer.
Yeah.
But now, when you go in most of our schools, because I saw these used computers which they had imported, they were I-Core 7, I-Core 8. Even you can't get those computers in Uganda. You can.
Yeah.
And now they had refused. These were more than 100 computers. They had refused the computers to enter Uganda. Can you imagine?
Because somebody needed to give him money through the back door.
No. They have put the rule. Now they are being taken to Congo, being taken to South Sudan. It's as if we are not needy. But when you go into deeper schools there, even you find when they have no single computer. So our leaders have no love for our country. And even we have no basic rule of law. You see, There are some people who drop out of school. Some young people, they drop out of school and nothing is done. Now we are having so many young people, so many young people who are robbers, so many young people who are doing all kinds of things. People are idle, young people are idle. You find they are doing all of funny kinds of things. You know, they are the ones who are having the guns, they are shooting. Now, recently, they talked about the LODU. So many people came and became LODUs. They were trained just for a few months. Now they have guns. You know, when you come...
That's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Now when you come to US, a policeman is so respected.
Yeah.
Actually, one time, President Obama was giving a speech in a university, these young people in the university, and was trying to compare some of the professions that these young people would want to enter into, and was telling them, actually I think they were high school, was telling them you would want to be a teacher. You see, now there, in Uganda, tell you to be a teacher, it's like a punishment. Like a punishment, even the kid can cry. A teacher, a policeman, you know, those are examples he was giving. So, our country, I conclude by saying that our country is a very nice country. We have good weather. We still have a spacious pieces of land where development can be done. We only need one thing. We just need good leaders. We have leaders who are selfless, like Jesus Christ did. He came and died for us. We need selfless leaders, and we need also the politics to have a good connection with the church. They must listen to what the church is saying. Even we're having another problem regarding the churches we have today. Some of these churches are also political, you know. Our churches they are up everywhere. Any place you find someone, this one is a pastor, this one is a pastor. Everyone is becoming a pastor now. A pastor now.
That's true.
And they're putting out churches, they are using the name of God to make money. And even some of us, the leaders, the church leaders, though we are preaching to these young people, we are promising empty glory. We are telling people, God is going to do this for you. God is going to do this for you. God is going to, and these people are believing that. And now we have seen people who have gone to an extent of doing atrocious things because someone has prophesied to them. And now we need the president like in Rwanda. Let them, now the pastors in Uganda, they are doing good work. You find them on streets, they are preaching the word of God, they are preaching the Bible, they are telling people, and you know, when I'm in a taxi, or when I'm driving, I hear their messages, they are good. They talk about these people are putting on skimpy clothes and what, and you find someone even trying to do like this in a taxi. Now, if the government could only help and tell that now everyone to own a church in Uganda, you must have a minimum of a diploma, a minimum of a certificate, minimum of a degree in theology, so that the government is aware, like they have done in Rwanda. Over 6,000 churches were closed down. Now the government will be assured that if a pastor is having a church, the sheep, the people who are going to come in this church, is going to preach to them the word by this message. Some good message. So we need the rule of law. We need our government to help us. And I know these days everyone is saying government help us, government help us. And now they are telling us that government etuyambe. Do you know why? Because the government is everything. When you say America, the roads, the cameras everywhere. All these things have been done by leaders. And now they are telling us, please help yourselves. We can help ourselves, but we demand full performance from the government, from the leaders. The quality of leaders you have, they determine the quality of the development you expect from a country.
That's so good. True. That's very powerful. Now, time is against us, and we are coming at the close of this program. But closing up with the President's State of Union, President Museveni said the opposition, DP and UPC, they cannot stand without his support. That is another way of saying all those DP and UPC, they are under my pocket. You understand? And he avoided so much talking about the people power. The pressure that is going on right now. It feels like Uganda is on the edge of blowing up. Because Bobby Wine, truth be told, Bobby Wine has brought a wave that has never been felt in the country of Uganda before. Bobby Wine has brought in pressure that right now every politician is measured and weighed under the statement of Bobby Wine. If Bobby Wine endorses you, then you're good. If Bobby Wine say you weren't good enough, then you basically cut off. The question that I have right now, being that Bobby Wine has brought in a new wave, Uganda feels hope for a new breath of life that is coming next.
Yes.
What should be expected of every Ugandan today in the country of Uganda?
First of all, the president not only did he say that recently,
Yes.
but when he goes for campaigns, he tells the people that you don't have this and this because you elect poor leaders.
Yeah.
That means anyone who is not pro-NRM is not a good leader.
Yes.
I think that kind of talk even makes people not understand. The president can't speak like that. But now every Ugandan, what do we expect of every Ugandan? Now every Ugandan must analyze what's happening in the country, and they make better choices when it comes to choosing leaders, right away from LC1. Every Ugandan, wherever they are, they must try to analyze the situation and avoid being bribed by money or what. And they make a proper choices that can help the country to move forward. Now, even now, the president and the leaders in the country, they're also Ugandans. Now, even we expect them to do something for us. We expect them at least the president to help us and step down. For one thing, to accept that Ugandans have been very good to him. When he goes where, people welcome him. They love him, you know. Despite the hard situations and circumstances we have in the country, they still love him, they applaud him and everything. Now, let him do it as a father and step down.
Let him love Uganda enough
let him
to say,
love
this is it, I've reached the end of the road.
Yes.
Let me stop right here. Let Ugandans choose somebody else to take on the driver's seat so that they can drive Uganda to the right direction.
That's what. Well, then even these other leaders,
yes, sir,
however powerful they are, however much they can speak and what, let them also. I think the government, I think there should be something, there should be some rules. The Constitution must be brought back to its normality so that at a certain time you cannot stand again. We need new blood. We need fresh blood. Because for us of this age, we have different views. We have new thoughts.
New technology.
And I've been able to move. One time when I went to a certain radio there in Boston, they were asking me that you have come to US. Now, what can you talk about? Which word do you have for the leaders who visit here? I told them it would have been even better not to allow any leader from Uganda to come back here. Because when they come, they don't learn. For us, when we come, I've already admired. When I go back
you see new roads, nice stuff, and you love to see it back home.
Exactly. Yes, now for me, I conclude by expecting every Ugandan to have, to love Uganda enough. And every leader to respect the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
Let them be selfless like Jesus Christ. Our country, like my Archbishop of Kampala says, we have a wonderful motto. For God and my country. The Archbishop always tells people that whatever you do, are you doing it for God and my country? If every leader, every Ugandan, even regarding choosing the leaders, electing the leaders, if everyone was doing whatever he was doing for God and his whole country, would be at peace.
Yes. Sarah, your closing remarks.
Basically, what I want to really applaud him because I've listened to him speak on spiritual matters.
Yes.
But it has never occurred to me that he really feels for the young people.
For the young people.
Because so many spiritual leaders have been blinded, and they pretend not to see what is going on in the country. But how are you going to feed the spiritual, the spiritual side of Ugandans when you cannot even talk about the things they go through every day? That's why you see, I think he's one of the most loved Catholic priests, because
Yes.
Because he has allowed to be present in the now, and speak of what people are going through, understand their problems, and feed it, and speak what is right, because it belongs to this generation. You belong to this generation, but you are afraid, or you don't want to talk about the thing, or you don't want even to give guidance of, because as a spiritual leader, there are many people who would want to see what does Father say and says, or what does he think of this situation. But I think he has stood up as an example, an exemplary for many young people, many young priests and spiritual leaders out there, to be able to be present. Because let's not just watch whatever is going on and pretend it's not happening because you're comfortable, because in the state where you are, things are not as bad as other Ugandans. But at least when people feel you're part of them, people feel you come from them, when you start speaking of the things they see and know. Because not so many people do that. You've seen the other spiritual leaders from the Pentecostal churches in Uganda. They are completely blinded. All what they know about is to ask people to give, and give. And people are giving from nowhere. People no longer have where. It's like you're asking someone to go and collect water from the well, and the well has dried up. Even the mud that was in there it's no longer mud. It's already dried up. But he has been so instrumental in, at least people who go to church still have hope that, you know what?
Yes.
We still have a leader, one from our generation, who feels our problems, who can address them, who can speak on them. Because so many people are afraid to speak. People are afraid to speak. And to the Ugandans back home, don't lose hope. You still have spiritual leaders like Dr. Gracious, who are ready to speak on the situation and are not afraid, because they would be afraid. I read some of the comments here. Someone mentioned that he should be careful when he's returning.
Because he's going to go back home.
Yeah, he's going to go back home, and he's going to be given red paper. Is it hot paper at the airport? So, but at the same time, if we live in a place of fear and not be able to talk to these leaders, because if all of us kept quiet, Museveni would think the situation is okay. But we are at a place where we are right now, because you have young people who have risen up. Museveni could not talk about people power at the State of Nation address, because it's one of the things he's most afraid of. Many Ugandans have woken up, because before, if you look at how he used to address people before, he would talk of, oh, I've given you peace, your sleep, at least you sleep. The issue of you sleep has stopped, because majority of Ugandans, we've never experienced war. So if you tell us that we've been sleeping, at least I've given you peace, we were not there. These are stories we were told or we read about when we were studying political education, or when all our parents have told us. So we are past that stage. The issues we have right now are so current. Are you able to address the unemployment issue? Are you able to address our Ugandans who, even after studying and fail to get jobs and study and decide to travel abroad, and they are brought back after being killed and murdered, and you cannot even give an explanation? What is happening to the roads? Why are we having corruption massively in the country? Why are funds being stolen left and right? Those are things, and the president does not, he does not. I saw him bringing in a lot of, you know, he's a very good comedian. I saw him going into very, very personal banter, you know, cracking jokes here and there, and he failed to give, because when even he read a report on the GDP, he was wrong. He was giving exorbitant figures. I don't know who, maybe, you know, definitely it was prepared by someone in the Ministry of Finance, but as a president, you should be able to really, before you give a state of address, to verify these figures, because you have people. You're not the only land person. You're not only having people who are land in your ministry. So many Ugandans have read their books. At least they can still compete and, you know, and understand these figures and say something is really wrong. But I applaud him a lot, and Father, we really appreciate you, because so many spiritual leaders have let young Ugandans down, but you haven't.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here at Uganda Crossroads. This has been one of the best moments of the studio. Now, next week, David, who's out on official duties of Campfire TV, will be back right here on Uganda Crossroads. And this week, we thank God for our Father Deo Gracious and Sarah Joy for enlightening us on the issues of Uganda and the issues that Ugandans deal with on a daily basis. For those of you who have been with us from the time that we got started, we thank you from every walks of life, those who join us from Africa, from the United States of America, United Kingdom, and every part of this world. You are making a Campfire TV what it is. Continue sharing this program as we get to hear more of the good stuff coming out of Campfire TV. And every opinion that has been said here on the Campfire TV does not reflect the thoughts and the mindset of the Campfire TV. But we really appreciate Father Deo Gracious. Thank you for coming in.
You're
and
welcome.
for honoring our invitation. Sarah, thank you for being our resident guest here on Uganda Crossroads. May God richly bless you. Join us again next time right here on Uganda Crossroads. This has been your friend, Dr. G. God richly bless you.